Welcome back to Grit on the Rocks Podcast Friday Fumas edition. This is where we light up sometimes, or you can light up while you listen or watch. You can pour a drink while we dive into conversations that challenge us to think a little deeper. Today we're tackling a big one: faith and finances. Can wealth and spirituality coexist? We all know money can be a touchy subject, especially when it comes to faith. But it's a question worth exploring. Can we pursue financial success and still live with spirituality integrity? Let's find out.
This podcast is a Buenos Dias Media production.
This is the Grit on the Rocks podcast, where raw conversations meet smooth sips. Pull up a chair, pour your favorite drink, puff on your favorite cigar, and join us as we dive into the convos that matter. No scripts, no barriers, just unfiltered truth served straight up. Cheers to the real ones out there. Salud.
Yes, this is Grit on the Rocks Friday Fumas edition. This week's cigar highlight is the Perdomo Lot 23 Connecticut. And we will also be talking about a quote from Norman Ralph Augustine. So stay tuned, stay listening to the end. You are listening to Grit on the Rocks Podcast Friday Fumas edition. Remember, if you want to participate in the show, go to gritontheRocks.com, scroll down to the Contact Us section, send us your message if you just want to send us an email, say hello or whatever it is. Or if you want to participate in one of our segments for the regular episodes, right? It could be Whiskey Bar Wisdom, it could be Barstool Banter, Hero of the Day, Kryptonite Sessions, or again, if you just want to write to us, make some suggestions on the show, we'd love to read them. And if they're good enough, we might read them on the show.
The views and opinions expressed by the host, guest, and/or participants of this show do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Buenos Dias Media LLC, its associates, partners, and show sponsors. The content is intended for entertainment purposes and should not be construed as professional advice. Listener discretion is advised.
Okay, so let's start off with this week's cigar highlight. This week's cigar highlight, the Perdomo Lot 23 Connecticut. I've said this before in the podcast, but so far in my cigar journey, right? I hate using that word, but so far, I think Perdomo has been the best for me, at least. So far, I think every cigar I've tried of theirs, I've really enjoyed, to the point where I end up buying again and again. So this week's cigar highlight is a Perdomo Lot 23 Connecticut. The cigar brings a smooth and creamy experience thanks to its 5-year age Ecuadorian Connecticut shade wrapper, which adds a rich creaminess to the blend. Inside, it features 5-year age Cuban seed Nicaraguan binder and filler tobaccos that add depth and a touch of complexity. As you smoke, you will notice hints of cedar and a light honey finish. It's mild to medium strength with a taste that's smooth and easygoing. Perfect for those who enjoy a gentle smoke, right, or a gentler smoke. According to Perdomo, this pairs especially well with hot cup of coffee, making it a great choice for a relaxing break. I don't think I've ever enjoyed with coffee. I'm usually at a lounge or I'm outside. I think usually it's either a beer, a Pilsner, or some whiskey. But again, I guess I'll have to try this with a hot cup of coffee. That was this week's cigar highlight. Now let's jump into this week's quote. Norman Ralph Augustine said, "Motivation will almost always beat mere talent." End quote. So what does this mean? It is a reminder of the power of persistence and drive. While talent is valuable, yes, it is valuable, it's motivation that pushes us through challenges. It fuels consistent effort and ultimately leads to success. Motivation turns potential into action, proving that a strong work ethic and determination can often achieve more than talent alone. It's a call to rely not just on what we're naturally good at, but on the passion and perseverance that keeps us moving forward. So that is this week's quote from Norman Ralph Augustine. Take that to mind, take it to heart, and drop a comment if you agree, disagree, if it spoke to you or if it didn't. So let's jump into this week's main topic, which is faith and finances. Can wealth and spirituality coexist? Let's unpack this. So first, we're understanding wealth and spirituality. Let's start by defining what we mean by wealth and spirituality. Wealth obviously isn't just money. It's assets, resources, and opportunities. And spirituality for many of us is about our connection to something bigger than ourselves, our values, and our integrity. In most cases, right, means connection to God. In almost every faith, there's this recurring idea of humility, giving, and a higher purpose, which can feel at odds with the pursuit of wealth. But is it really? Let's debunk some of the myths around wealth and spirituality. There's a common myth that wealth and spirituality are opposites. I've heard this a lot growing up. You can't want to be wealthy if you want to be close to God. Only the meek are close to God. And it's a thought, it's a way of thinking that I never agreed with, even while I was like very active in church. I never agreed with this. I was like, but if God is the owner of gold and silver, if he is the creator and we are his children, why wouldn't he want his children to be wealthy and have everything he has to offer? So there's a common myth, right, especially that wealth and spirituality are opposites, that somehow wanting financial success is selfish. But looking at history, we see that some of the greatest spiritual figures manage wealth responsibly. It's all about how we use our resources. If wealth is achieved with integrity and used to support others, is it not aligned with spirituality? If it allows us to serve a greater good, does it make us better stewards? I think intention plays a big role here. And are we chasing money for the sake of it, or are we using it to fulfill a purpose, provide for others, and uplift our communities? When our goal isn't just personal gain, but also giving back, wealth can be a powerful tool. Wealth can even enable us to do good in ways we couldn't otherwise. Think of it as fuel. It's neutral until you decide how to use it. And there's many books that you read when you're into personal development and wealth building that talk about this, right? The Science of Getting Rich tells you that we shouldn't be thinking about poverty, because when you think about poverty and focus on poverty, all you're attracting is poverty. But when you focus on wealth, you attract wealth, but it's not just for personal gain. You're also giving back. And it's energy, and I don't know how to describe it, right? But it's like energy that comes in, energy that comes out. So when you build wealth, you attract to yourself, you build, but it's important to give back, and you keep that motion going. It's a circular motion. It comes back to you and goes out and comes back. So it is important not to just build for building, just to be greedy or whatever it is. it's important to give back. When you study these millionaires and billionaires, most people just think about, oh, Scrooge, oh, he was so greedy. No. Think about actual millionaires, study their lives, look at their stories, and see how much these people actually give back, how much they donate to charity. And obviously, yeah, you have those that want to demonize wealth and say, oh, they only do it for tax deductions or whatever. It doesn't matter if they do it or not. They're putting it out there. They're giving to charity. They're helping. And therefore, their wealth is multiplied. So, now we're going to talk about spiritual integrity and wealth building. We've got to mention a few core principles: honesty, gratitude, and generosity. Being honest in our pursuits, thankful for what we have, and willing to give back keeps us grounded. When we lose sight of these principles, that's when the pursuit of wealth becomes spiritually empty. But if we stay aligned with them, wealth becomes an extension of our values. One pitfall, though, is becoming too attached to money or what it can buy. The moment we let it define us, we're on a slippery slope. True spiritual peace doesn't come from what we have, but from who we are without all of it. Wealth is a gift, not a guarantee of happiness. The aim should be to use wealth, not to let it use us. I hope you're following. So when we build wealth, people just think about, oh, I can buy this and I can buy that. Okay, what can you do when you use wealth and not let it use you, where you become obsessed, where you say no to everything else, and that includes family and relationships because you're just focused on, money. That is wealth using you. But when you build and you enjoy and you feel grateful for what you have and you give back, again, you're putting that out there, you're putting that positivity out into the world, it will come back to you. So for me, I've seen firsthand that when wealth is gained responsibly and you support my faith and my values, it feels meaningful. I've also felt the tension when I focus too much on it for its own sake. It's a balance, one we're all trying to find. Maybe the key is let wealth be a means, not an end, and let spirituality guide how we manage it. I am focused because I come from nothing. So I've always, well, not always, but when I learned about this and generational wealth and etc. and personal finances, my main focus is my family. My main focus is building to be able to not only live well with my family, but also leave a legacy for them to continue. And that means in morals, ethically, work ethic, and also finances. I don't want them to have all the same struggles as I did. Not to say that, oh, I don't want my kids to struggle the way I did and they learn nothing. That's not the idea either. But I want them to be able to keep building for their children and their grandchildren and so on and so forth, which is why we focus on building generational wealth. So, can wealth and spirituality coexist? Absolutely. It's all about intention, purpose, and integrity. Wealth can either fuel a life aligned with faith, or it can distract you from it. It is up to us to choose how we handle it. So that's it for today's episode of Friday Fumas, right? This is Grit on the Rocks podcast. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Grit on the Rocks. I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you balance your faith and finances? Have you found a way to align your wealth building with your spiritual values? Drop a comment. Send in your stories. Go to gritontheRocks.com. Scroll down to the bottom where it says contact us. Send us your stories or share a question for future episodes. Until next time, my beautiful brothers and sisters, keep your faith strong, your finances aligned, and your cigars lit. Stay gentlemanly, stay classy. Cheers.